You're not sneaking up on anyone today.
March. No, they're great.
What were you guys up to? Oh, that's right. Okay.
It was a little chilly out, so it wasn't really a beach day. But
You found a
around the back.
Friday the 28th.
Yeah,
That's great. Exciting. She's been trying to get her.
Glenwood.
Okay.
We'll give Linda another moment or two.
She's coming.
And in the meantime, one of my daughter's best friend's husband passed away.
Oh, that is too bad to hear.
They were moving back from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He was about an hour and a half from home
Mm-hmm.
and got hit.
Oh, that's terrible.
And he died.
Mm-hmm.
The dog survived.
Oh. Well,
So it's been a rough couple of weeks.
Marna, speaking of broken chairs,
And I couldn't get a visitation because he's sitting on the dog.
I distracted
Yeah.
you. This chair is like
I'm still
wobbly.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't want to do her GoFundMe. She was too nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously.
Yeah.
Didn't have any notes on this one. Beautiful thing.
You or anyone else.
All right. We're done. Just gonna, no, you're fine. I'm gonna get us going so you don't have to sit down twice. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:08 PM. We'll call this meeting of the Township Board of the Charter Township of Meridian to order. First on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Will those who are able please rise and join us for the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on our agenda is roll call. Will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Here.
Clerk Demas here. Treasurer Burkhart.
Here.
Trustee Wentz.
Here.
Trustee Sunland.
Here.
Trustee Trezise.
Here.
Trustee Wilson.
Here.
7 board members present.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is item 4A, presentations, and we have a couple of folks from Granger here to give us an update, our annual update. From Granger, welcome.
All right. There we go. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Make sure everything's good. Okay. Yes, good evening, supervisor, trustees, manager. This is, with me today is Michelle Pitts. She is our community relations and events coordinator at Granger Waste Services. And I am Charles Hauser, the governmental and regulatory affairs manager. Here tonight because we would like to give you the annual report for recycling within the township. We do a lot of work in this township, which we're very appreciative of. And while you're not getting the data from everything that's out there, mostly from our company, it's still some really great stuff. But I saw Trustee Wilson at a golf outing. I said, hey, we've done these in the past where we were doing it annually and then it kind of stopped, then it picked up. And let's just make this an annual thing. So we're going to start that tonight and make sure that, from now on, we do this on an annual basis for you, just to give you an update on some of the great things that are happening. So we can move to the next slide here. Oh, do I have control of
You
this?
do, yeah, you can do it with that or the keyboard.
Thank you. So what we have here is a slide that just shows you out of the customers who have our cart trash service, those who utilize what is known as the free or no additional cost recycling. So Granger and the township have an agreement where if you have trash service, a cart trash service with us, that you can have the option at no additional cost to get a 96-gallon recycle cart, the yellow top cart, so you can recycle at your house single stream. So just want to show you that this number, it hasn't necessarily grown, but this is an amazing number compared to the other communities that we work with. 78% participation is fantastic. And, coming from Meridian, it's not necessarily a surprise, but it is very, very good. Just for totals here, now when we look at those, this is residential recycling, single stream. Your number for 2025 that has come out of Meridian is 3,082,860 approximately pounds of recycling that was collected within this community. It is down from last year, but you can see it you see this generally, economy of scales will change depending on how the economy is going. You will also see people start to reuse a lot more, buy less. You're hearing a lot more of that. So these things will change. So next year we'll kind of determine and be able to see maybe a little bit of if that goes up or if it stays the same, and that might get us a little bit more information as well. But don't take away from 3 million pounds of recycling. Again, this is phenomenal and a huge number for a community. So that's very good stuff. We get this data from the EPA. There's a implementation where you can enter that 3 million number, and it kind of gives you a feedback on one. It's not all of these at once, but it's one of each. So we'll say your 3 million recycling saves approximately 26,000 trees, or 6.3 million kilowatts of energy, or over 92,000 pounds of air pollution, or 10.79 gallons of water that's potentially conserved. And then and generally around 5,133 cubic yards of landfill space that is saved from generally that number of diversion that comes out of the 3 million pounds of recycling. So again, great stuff, doing great stuff for the environment, but it just shows the benefits throughout the community. So just to give you an update of our services that we do provide, so it is every other week schedule, and this is that no additional charge recycling cart that your residents receive with the cart trash service through Granger. And that is single stream recycling that's collected. The good thing about single stream is you can kind of put all your recyclables in one container. It does go to a local facility here called Mterra in Lansing, where Mterra has a multi-million-dollar facility that separates it all into bales of a single type of material that is then sent to and sold to end users. But some of that material is corrugated cardboard, plastic bottles, jugs, mixed paper, tin cans, aluminum, box board, and beverage glasses, among a couple other things, Tetra Tech containers, and those we're starting to see just a little additions here and there. And what we'll do actually is we'll send an updated list as we talk to Mterra of things that a full recycle list that'll be can be dispersed throughout your community just to make sure everyone's recycling everything that they can. So we want to give you a little some exciting news. We think it will be exciting for this community. There's Right Size Your Trash service. Our general service is the 96-gallon cart, which is on the far left, and that's a 7-bag, 3 extras on the side service. In the middle is a 65-gallon cart, which is 5 bags, and then the new service that we provide is called the mini cart. This is a 3-bag service cart that is smaller. It's kind of made for those folks who don't necessarily, that don't use or produce a ton of trash all the time. And it's one of those things, I know in this community, bag tags are very important, right? So we've heard you, and we've said over the years that we will not take bag tags away from those that have it, but going forward from a safety perspective, we probably won't be bringing on new bag tag customers. So here's this option. Now, I'll get into this a little deeper. With that option, you do get the option here for a free or no additional cost cart as well, because it is a cart service. And again, you can put your single stream corrugated cardboard, plastics, mixed paper, metal cans, foil, cardboard, and glass. So we are not taking away the bag tag, just so you know. So I know that has been a concern throughout the years, but
It's my issue.
So this is just an example of what that mini cart does. It's perfect for those who have low household waste. Maybe you want some more space in their garage or whatnot, but smaller cart, cleaner curb, and then you get the addition of the free recycling. So in addition to that, we have given you kind of the report that gives you the data, and then we've given you this as well, which we've given extras out too. Yep, and we can also get you a PDF because we want to make sure that your folks are aware that they do have this option for the no additional cost recycling to see maybe if that percentage will grow next year or whatnot. But maybe there's people who've moved into the township that don't understand that service is available. We are happy to, for the sake of time, get out of here and leave you at B, but we're happy to take questions too.
Thank you very much. Board members, do you have any questions of our folks from Granger? Yes.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, do you do any outreach to new neighborhoods as they come online? I think this would be a good opportunity to maybe advertise that mini. I know I have already texted my fiance about switching to that because I've never once filled up the 96 in a week. So I'm just curious.
You know, it's from a community relations standpoint, sometimes there's different organizations that we do provide education to on how to recycle correctly, or sometimes an HOA group will reach out and we're happy to present to them as well. But a general new regular neighborhood, not all the time, no, but that's a good suggestion and something we can definitely look at how we can possibly do that. So, sure.
It shows our values as a township, especially with that recycling. So
Yeah.
thank you for the presentation.
Sure, and that's why we want to help provide you with some data too that can maybe get out to those new residents as well.
Great.
Any other questions?
Board members? Well, thank you so much
All right.
for coming in
Thank
and
you so
doing
much.
this.
We appreciate it.
We look forward to seeing you next year.
You will. All right. Thanks.
All right, next on our agenda is item 5, citizens address agenda items and non-agenda items. There are several opportunities for public comment at tonight's meeting. Members of the public who wish to address our agenda or any item not on our agenda have an opportunity to do so now, as well as at the end of the meeting. Those who wish to address the board must complete a green card, which you can find on the table near the door, and present the card to the board or a member of the township staff. When it's your turn, I'll call you up to the speaker. I'll call up the next speaker to the podium to speak the topics indicated. While it's not required, it's helpful for the sake of our minutes if you provide your name and address at the beginning of your remarks. Seeing that we're light on public, I'm going to go ahead and pass on the rest of the script. I think you two all know all the rules. Anyone wishing to speak at public comments at this time, public comment is open at 6:18. All right, seeing none, public comment is closed at 6:18. Next on our agenda is item 6, the Township Manager Report. Manager Dempsey.
Yes, thank you Supervisor, and good evening, board members. A few things this evening. The first is a reminder that next Tuesday, so a week from tonight, we have the next board listening session. It's at the pavilion across from Town Hall here at 6 p.m. So we encourage our residents to attend and join us for that. Look forward to doing that. We do have a contingency plan in the event that we have bad air quality or storm event, so we will bring that in-house here to the Town Hall room as a Plan B backup. In terms of topics, staff will provide an overview, factual overview of, assuming that the board takes action tonight on placing the park millage and the public safety millage on the ballot for November. We'll have information on that. We can also provide update on the election if the clerk would like to do that, as well as updates on the local road program, and then also the Parks Master Plan, to brief updates on that. But certainly encourage our residents to come out. For those that cannot, there is a form online that people can fill out and provide questions ahead of time, so that is available as an alternative. And speaking of the Parks and Rec Master Plan, there are public input sessions that are ongoing. Currently, the next one is actually Thursday, July 30th, so a week from this Thursday at Harris Nature Center. Those are at 6 p.m. You may encourage residents interested in giving input on the Parks Master Plan to please come out to the Harris Nature Center. The one following that will be Thursday, August 13th, and that'll be at Towner Road Park for that one. There's also still the ongoing survey that's available on the website as well. And then, of course, this weekend is the big event, Celebrate Meridian. So that will start Friday night with team night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then that's at Marketplace on the Green, of course, as is a lot of the events happening on Saturday from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. But we'll also have events here near Town Hall, as well as along Central Park Drive with all of the food vendors, children's activities, and just a host of things. Of course, the drone show. And yes, the Historic Village will have activities and programming there as well. All that information is online, so all the details of what activities are occurring, when and where are available on the township's website. But we encourage everybody to come out and have a great time with us. That's it for me. I know the clerk will likely be giving an update on elections, so I'll defer to her on that.
Board members, any questions of Manager Dempsey? Is it, if possible, could we have a sign perhaps at the farmer's market? Because I know we had a lot of folks who were confused about the location when they heard pavilion last year for the listening session. Might be worthwhile to have at least something there to say, hey, go one more parking lot over.
Come to this pavilion, not the Marketplace on the Green,
Right.
not the farmer's market. We'll do that.
Put it up on the sign,
Yeah.
Right.
electronic sign.
Yes, this is true, we could, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Clerk Demas.
Will the air quality be good enough for us to meet outside next week?
You know, we don't know at this point, if the forecast is too far out, so we
So
probably,
if it doesn't-
probably make that call on Monday.
Okay, so, but we're still planning to meet outside, and if
Yes.
not, we will notice.
Yeah, if not, we'll be inside here.
Okay.
But we'd obviously put signage out there to direct people into the building. As well as likely have someone stationed out there too.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, board members' reports of activities and announcements. Any board members with activities and announcements? Clerk Demas.
Well, yes, I have a lot of announcements about our upcoming primary election. So yes, early voting starts this weekend. So Saturday, July 25th, we'll have early voting from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. That time has changed, and we made sure to notify our registered households in Meridian Township. So that will still take place in the town hall room. And then from July 26th through August 2nd, early voting will go back to 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., still in the town hall room. And of course, August 4th is our primary election, so polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Make sure if you're voting by absentee, you get our ballot to us by 8 p.m. That's when drop boxes close. And an additional update, I don't talk about the election commission too much, but I did want to say that we met last Monday, and we appointed our election inspectors, made sure that the county parties were made aware, and our public accuracy test occurred last Friday, and everything went well.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Others with reports? Trustee Wentz.
Yeah. I want to thank Clerk Demas and Trustee Trezise for joining me at the Elmswood annual meeting last week. It's always an informative conversation with some very intelligent individuals sitting there talking about our water quality. Some highlights for those that weren't there that I wanted to bring forward just because I do think they're notable. The Elmswood plant was awarded the F.H. Passion Civil Engineering Award of the Year for the new $2 million gallon concrete reservoir, which ensures consistency and reliability across our network. That's a national award, so I think that that is notable, especially considering Elmswood, at least to my understanding, is still the only water treatment facility in Michigan to go from surface water to groundwater classification because of those steps that have been made, which reduce testing necessity and therefore dollars and infrastructure around that testing. And on the subject that Trustee Sunland raised on our pension liabilities, when it comes to Elmswood, they are setting the standard. Over 100% funding for their RHVP fund and at 99.9% funding for their pension liability. So that will result in both Meridian and East Lansing seeing a slightly lower fee coming to Elmswood to make up for that, what was previously a lack of 100% funding. So great news on that front. When citizens do ask us about water rates and water quality, being able to point to Elmswood being the second place finisher year in and year out of water taste, as well as these awards and the financial information behind it, I think it's truly one of the gems for our community. So happy to report.
Great. Thank you very much. Trustee Trezise.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that meeting and learned a lot. One thing I was surprised that Meridian Township uses more water, considerably more water on an annual basis than does East Lansing. The other thing was when they talked about second place on water taste, we lost to Marquette. And as the manager there said, it's hard to compete with Lake Superior. So it was a very informative, and he gave us a very pleasant and informative tour of the facility afterwards. It made a very enjoyable afternoon.
Is that consumption per capita more than East Lansing, or is that total?
Total.
Oh, well, there's more of us than there are of them.
Not that many. Now when you throw in the university.
But they're gone during like the summertime, so.
Yeah.
But they had water too.
And when they say the university is green and white, they keep it nice.
And irrigation's a factor too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Any other reports? Trustee Sunland.
I was just gonna say, I attended that meeting several years ago just to get a surface understanding of what their work, and it was just so fascinating. It really is something that somebody should attend at least once.
Yep.
I'll probably attend it again soon, and then next year maybe.
I'll send you the info.
All right. Seeing no other reports, move on to agenda item 8, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
I move to approve the agenda.
It's been moved by trustee Trezise, supported by trustee Wilson. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the consent agenda. We have a number of items on our consent agenda this evening, including communications with the Township Board, 2 sets of minutes, a regular meeting minutes from our July 7th meeting, as well as the closed session minutes from that, which you can find in front of you at your places. Go ahead and take a moment to review those. We also have the bills and the 2026 second quarter investment report. Thank you to Treasurer Burkhart for providing that. Any motions to be made on the consent agenda this evening?
So moved.
Moved by Treasurer Burkhart. Do you have a supported by trustee Lentz. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Clerk Demas, yes. Treasurer Burkhart?
Yes.
Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. And board members, if you would, please pass those manila envelopes back down to the clerk so we have those for storage. Okay, next on our agenda is the Park and Public Safety Millage renewals. And we have Manager Dempsey to talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, good evening again. So, as you know, I wasn't with you for your last meeting. Deputy Manager Opsimer filled in for me, but the staff provided, I think, a robust presentation on the 2 millages and their expiration, the parks one having expired last year, and then this is the final year for the public safety millage, the 2017 public safety millage. At that time, the board provided direction to staff to come back with final resolutions that would authorize placing both renewals onto the ballot for the general election coming up in November. So we've provided both of those resolutions for your consideration tonight, working with our attorneys. And then we have 2 motions, one for each of them, if you so choose to proceed with that. So happy to answer any questions pertaining to those resolutions or the ballot proposals.
Thank you very much. Board members, or Clerk Demas.
I'm sorry, I do have to highlight, the general election is November 3rd, so we'll just want to make sure that that is
Oh, yeah, in the memo.
accounted for.
Make sure that's not anywhere in the resolution, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I'm going to verify that information, but I just noticed that.
Looks like November 3rd there, November 3rd there. Well, good news, it looks like the attorney's got it right in all the places that matter. November 3rd there, November 3rd there. All right, my cursory glance says that we're okay. Just the memo. We all understand that it's November 3rd.
I will do with my time then.
Any further discussion or any discussion on these, I should say? Trustee Trezise.
Yeah, I would just like to point out to the public that we had a very detailed and informative presentation from the police and fire individuals as well as the park. And I hope that's available for people to see, link online to understand why and the importance of these millages for the programs we offer to the public.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, these are renewals also of existing millages. So approval of these would not change the millage rate. We also, there was a discussion, a small discussion about the use of Headley overrides, which these do not. So this does not increase the millage rate in any fashion based on what we're currently paying. These do fund critical services in our police and fire departments, as well as the maintenance and operation of our township parks, which obviously we know that a lot of our residents care very deeply about. And considering that these are simply renewals, this would be an easy yes for me. Any further discussion? Trustee Wilson?
I'd like to make the motion to approve the resolution to adopt park millage proposal.
Okay, it's been moved by Trustee Wilson. Do we have a second? Clerk Demas? Seconded by Clerk Demas. Any final discussion on this topic? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Treasurer Burkhart?
Yes.
Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Supervisor Hendrickson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. And Trustee Wilson?
I'd like to make the motion to approve the resolution to adopt police and fire protection millage proposal.
Support.
It's been moved by Trustee Wilson, supported by Trustee Trezise. Any final discussion on the motion at hand? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Treasurer Burkhart?
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Manager Dempsey, and our Chief of Police, our Fire Chief, and our Parks Director for their work to, get these together and for the presentation, and Mr. Milleroff as well for being here a couple of weeks ago to offer that presentation alongside them. I think that was very helpful. And certainly, I would recommend anyone with questions to take a look at our township website. I believe that presentation is or will soon be up on the website there, so that's available for public consumption. Next up on our agenda is item 10B, the second quarter budget amendments, and we have Director Bernadette Blondie here to tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Supervisor and board members. I'm here to present the proposed second quarter budget amendments. They're detailed in your packet. These represent revenues that came in higher than anticipated, along with our requested reimbursement from Ingham ISD for our May election. We also included expenditures related to our green grants. Those were awarded in '25, but are being dispersed in '26, along with the Grettenberger relief drain assessment costs. Those weren't known during the budget process, so we're adding those now. So overall, these amendments would result in a net increase to fund balance and bring our overall projected use of fund balance to $313,000 compared to our original budgeted use of fund balance of $331,000. I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have any.
Thank you very much. Board members, any questions this evening? Trustee Trezise.
I don't have any questions, but I want to thank you for the presentation and the description. It was very informative and very easy to follow. And that's not always true with budget presentations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Other discussion? I don't know why it is, but it seems like there's always one quarter where things come up so much better than every other quarter. I'm always happy to arrive at that quarter. It's, $80,000 better than we anticipated is certainly better than the alternative. I think this is very easy to understand. It makes total sense what we are spending, the money on, and I think that, I'm happy that we are coming in better than we budgeted. I think we had a pretty conservative budget to begin with. And so I think that shows, the budget document is our best effort to be, good financial stewards. I think this shows the staff is adhering to those same principles, and I'm certainly appreciative of that. So I'll be happy to accept these amendments when they come up. Anyone willing to make a motion this evening? It's one of our long, Treasurer Burkhart.
Supposed to read this, right?
Yes, please.
I move to approve the second quarter 2026 budget amendments with an increase in budgeted fund balance for the general fund in the amount of $79,270, which projects a decrease in year-end fund balance of $313,984. Based on the 2025 results, the projected fund balance at December 31, 2026 will be $16,054,093.
It's been moved by Treasurer Burkhart, supported by Trustee Wilson. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, will Clerk Demus please call the roll?
Trustee Sunland,
Yes.
trustee Trezise,
Yes.
trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Clerk Demus, yes, and treasurer Burkhart.
Yes.
Trustee Lentz,
Yes.
supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is item 10C, the land preservation acquisition for the Hamilton Road parcel. And we have Emma Campbell here to talk to us a little bit more about that.
Hi, good evening Supervisor and trustees and Manager Dempsey. I was here in last June to present a recommended parcel from the Land Preservation Advisory Board into our Land Preserve program. So just a little recap, this is a 1.94 acre site directly adjacent to 4.2 acres of currently township land known as Mandenburg Woods Preserve. About 90% of that parcel is in the flood hazard area, so 75% of it is wetlands. It is being listed, or we appraised it out as 87,000. And per our process that we go through with our board was established in 2000 to acquire preserves and to acquire land for the preservation program. And per our process, we, generally adhere to the appraisal. We'd never like to go over the appraisal price. So that is what we are negotiating at. And we are here tonight with a resolution to approve or not approve. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or recap anything. I know that was a very brief summary for you.
Thank you very much. And board members, we did hear about this at our last meeting as well, and also got some more information too there. So we certainly appreciate your coming and chatting with us about it this evening. Board members, any discussion at this time? Clerk Demus.
I just want to say thank you so much for all the questions that you've answered and helped me understand this process. I've learned a lot being a part of the Land Preservation Advisory Board, so I would be willing to support this today. I know I missed the last meeting, but I feel like I've made up for it by being a part of land preservation.
Yes.
So.
You've heard a lot about this parcel. Our board is nothing but thorough with these parcels for sure. So thank you, I appreciate.
Yes, you guys have a very thorough process, and I appreciate learning more.
Thank you.
Trustee Trezise.
I understand your process and the reason you focus in on the assessed value, but that seems like an awful lot of money for 2 acres, 75% of which is not buildable. But
It still is developable, and also Director Schmidt confirmed that as well. So there's 0.48 acres that is usable on that property. And it is assessed as residential.
I understand that, and I wandered through it, and it didn't look like there was that much above water level, so, but I will defer to the expertise of the Preservation Board, and so I will support this.
Yeah, and we definitely aren't appraisers or realtors either.
I know that.
Our assessment that we make is ecological, and really our biggest thing with this parcel is that it is a stormwater mitigation site. It has potentially vernal pools on it. So of course, we are not assessing, dollar value as experts, but definitely as ecologists.
And I agree with you, there are some factors that make this very valuable from a
Yeah.
preservation standpoint.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially neighboring one of our other preserves,
Yes.
so, okay.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I mean, negotiation is part of our process. So if that is something that the board feels is necessary, we can always go back and look at that.
Trustee Lentz.
Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Campbell. I appreciate the thoroughness of the conversation at our last meeting, and I can say as someone who's been out with the land pres volunteers, one of the things that the ecologists point to as a good use of funds that we have set aside is to potentially expand what we do already have rather than kind of mindlessly acquiring bits and pieces around the township because of the, you're able to have a more thorough approach to a piece of land that's already attached to another piece of land that is currently a part of the system. So I am encouraged by that. And then there was one question I had for you. Oh, I remember. Can you reiterate to the board and members of the public how much the land preservation millage brings in towards acquisitions like this? I can't imagine 87,000 is going to put us into a bind financially. So.
Yeah, and again, I don't have the numbers directly in front of me. I'm so sorry. I think right now that our current account is at 4.9, 4.7.
Yeah, it's definitely in that range. It's
Million?
well over there. Yeah.
And so we do, we work off of the millage, I think it's a millage interest for our management. And so that's, we have separate funds for those things. So our management and what we pay staff comes out, differently. But we do have a fund of about 4.9 million that we are able to use for acquisitions.
I think of it as a great asset, and I'm plan on supporting this measure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other board members? Clerk Demas.
I would like to make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Motion to approve the resolution authorizing purchase of parcel number 22-02-02-21-179-008 located on Hamilton Road.
It's been moved by Clerk Demas, supported by Trustee Sunland. Any final discussion? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Treasurer Burkhart?
Yes.
Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank
You too. Next on our agenda is item 10D, zoning amendment 2026-05, chickens and rabbits. Director Schmidt, hello again.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. At the board's direction at the last meeting, after we brought forward the request, the previous approval was reconsidered and the board directed staff to reintroduce the ordinance to include the RN zoning district in the potential districts where you can have backyard chickens or rabbits. As a reminder, it's a small district located between Lake Lansing, Marsh, Hazlet, and Lake Lansing Park South. And it is a sort of a mixed district because it's some of the oldest housing in the township. So there's a little bit of commercial, there's a little bit of office, there's multifamily, there's single family, there's a sailing club. So there's a lot of things that go on in this district. And the RN district is not a straight single family district, which is why it wasn't picked up before. But the majority of the properties are single family in there. And so staff did receive a request in that district, and the board then subsequently opted to reconsider the motion to allow the RN to be included. So we did publish it as requested. We are in front of you this evening for final adoption to specifically include the RB, RX, and RN districts where you can have backyard chickens or rabbits.
All right. Thank you very much, board members. This is the 17th time we've heard this one. However, we are excited to dispose this and get this one put to bed, I think, so that the chickens can wake us up first thing in the morning.
You can come home to roost.
That's right. Any discussion on this, Trustee Lentz?
I'll happily make the motion to move on. I move to adopt the resolution to approve text amendment 2026-05 to amend the Code of Ordinances of the Charter Township of Meridian at section 86-368 to update the standards for the keeping of backyard chickens and rabbits in the township, adding the RB, RX, and RN districts as locations where backyard chickens or rabbits can be kept.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Lentz, supported by trustee Sunland. Any final discussion on this topic? Clerk Demas, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Treasurer Burkhart,
Yes.
Trustee Lentz,
Yes.
Trustee Sunland,
Yes.
Trustee Trezise.
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. I think that should do it for chickens and rabbits. All right, thank you very much. You're not leaving because I see you're here for the next one too. Next on our agenda is item 11A, or ordinance 2026-08, Copper Creek East, rezone from, to RA with PRD overlay. Dr. Schmidt.
So functionally, I'm going to talk about 11A and 11B together because they're essentially inextricably linked. When the original Copper Creek was done, they went under a slightly different ordinance. That at the way the PUD is set up, you do the rezoning first and then you do the sketch plan. They're coming under the PRD, which is the planned residential district, very similar, slightly different. The big difference from our perspective in reading through the ordinance is there is an explicit statement of approval of the sketch plan at the same time as the rezoning, essentially. And so we are splitting them into two motions just for purposes of record as we go forward. Additionally, when they did Copper Creek the first time, the underlying zoning was already in place, and so what they did is they came in with the PUD request with the sketch plan. In this case, they had to previously, you may recall, rezone this to the RA, which is the underlying zoning that allows them to then get access to the PUD or the PRD in this case. And so they've done it slightly differently in terms of process this time, which again, all the more reason for us to essentially treat these as two motions when they come out. And from a practical perspective, the rezoning is a legislative act, whereas the sketch plan is more of a discretionary act. So in theory, if anything ever got haywire, they would be appealed differently. So that's why we have them down as two separate items. But functionally what's happening here is that we are taking the existing RA zoning, which the board put in place after the 2003 future land use map update to essentially make this consistent with the remainder of Copper Creek. And they are now overlaying that with the PRD district, which is the rezoning piece. And as part of the PRD, there's a sketch plan associated with it. And that's what we're talking about this evening. And so the Copper Creek Phase 1 is in the blue here. Copper Creek Phase 2, we're calling it Copper Creek East because technically Copper Creek Phase 1 has 4 phases in it. Not to get into too many semantics here, but we're calling it East for ease of internal discussion. And so the sketch plan, let me scoot down to that real quick. Shot right past it. Is this? This is sort of the first half of the project. Very little wetland in this area. This is the amount of planning they're willing to do at this point. Obviously, putting stubs in for future development. Functionally, what's going to happen is the first phase is only this small area right here. Right, this stub already exists coming out of the existing Copper Creek. Goes north-south. This is all part of Copper Creek 1. And then they're going to build this road and the entrance, basically, to start this next phase of Copper Creek. This is a long project. I don't believe they expect this to go as quickly as the first 2 phases specifically of the original Copper Creek went. The first 2 phases went very quickly, and then 3 and 4 are almost done now. This will go on a more gradual pace going forward, but functionally this plan meets the underlying zoning. They're actually not taking advantage by and large of reductions that are permitted in the PRD. Realistically, what is happening here is we are getting sort of concept plan layout in exchange for setting aside of land as required by the ordinance. Because they're functionally, it's gonna be it's gonna be seamless when you drive, if you drive from sort of here over to here, same size lots, same type of development. Trees might be slightly different because they've run into a couple of utility conflicts of where some of the street trees were being put in phase one that we had to work out. So they're gonna take those lessons to heart and move those a little bit, still be in the front yard, still right off the street, but just so that we don't have to move every single one on every lot that we deal with going forward. Planning Commission reviewed this, had no major concerns. We did have one Copper Creek resident, I believe this house right here, had some concerns about development on the adjacent vacant property, but by and large, the Planning Commission had no major concerns and did recommend approval to the Township Board for the PRD and the concept plan. And so this sort of now takes a two-step process. Because the PRD is considered a rezoning, the next step for that will be introduction. The sketch plan will just kind of wait now until the rezoning the PRD rezoning has been introduced and is back. Then the sketch plan will come back and there'll be two motions ultimately for adoption if the board chooses to move that direction. One to adopt the rezoning, one to approve the sketch plan. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
I see a couple hands. Trustee Sunland.
Hi, okay, thank you for the presentation and everything. And I'm drawing up a little bit of past material in the past, but I wanted to just make sure that the site plan, okay, so there was Creekwood Lane that went right up and down. It was the neighborhood right before the Copper Creek, and I don't know how all this draws into it. I just wanted to make sure that Creekwood Lane still has that cement above, so that you can't go through Copper Creek and get out Creekwood Lane.
Yeah, so
It was a big issue with them because they thought the traffic would just gravitate toward going out on Creekwood Lane instead of the other appropriate entrances to the subdivision.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to make sure that that was still in place.
100%. That emergency act, well, of course you can't see it, but there are bollards here and there are bollards here. Amazon delivery trucks still try to get through there. Still get the occasional call. Because they aren't like concrete bollards. That's not the type of bollard that would be approved by the fire department. They're breakaways. And so occasionally you'll get somebody back there, but by and large, it's had the effect it intended to have of not allowing traffic through between the subdivisions.
And that's gonna still be in place.
Yeah, this,
Okay.
so this new subdivision, I can just, we don't have new enough aerial, oh, we do actually, they flew this stretch apparently. This is actually the current situation. You can see it stubs here and here. The property, the edge of the existing subdivision is right here, back of this curve. And so this is the new development over in this area, and they'll eventually come down and connect into Hazlet Road right over here. So yeah, it has no effect on Creekwood.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Wilson.
I read in the staff memo, in the second paragraph, the very end of it, it says the initial phase of Copper Creek was approved under a PUD, which is very similar to the current PRD. Land will be set aside as preserved property while giving the applicant the opportunity to reduce lot size or increase density. And my question is, what do you mean by increasing the density?
So
I understand the clustering of homes concept.
So the, trying to flip to the right part here. So functionally you go, by reducing the lot size, you increase the number of lots you can get into that area. So whereas before, if you were at a 20,000 square foot lot size on an acre, that's only 2 units, but if you drop it to 10,000 under the PRD, you can in theory get 4 if you're able to set aside the amount of space. In this case, the applicant's not taking advantage of that because They just want to continue the existing Copper Creek. From a practical perspective, they're doing this purely from a procedural reason. They don't want to do a plat because of the process they had to go through previously. And so they are using the PRD this time to go with the site condo route.
But they don't intend to deviate from the rezoning to RA, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and they cannot come in and split a lot differently to get, say, an RB zoning. There's no intent to do that, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I was just thrown by that phrase, increased density.
Yeah, it's just from a practical design perspective. If you reduce the lots and are able to set aside natural area, you can increase the density.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to piggyback on that, they are neither increasing or decreasing the lot size, nor are they preserving property.
No, at this time, they're functionally just using the underlying RA zoning. They just need it for a process perspective. They don't have any intention to go through the plating process again.
So, I mean, I appreciate the desire for efficacy, certainly. My question, I guess, would be, what, are we interested in permitting an end run around the plating process?
From our perspective, it's really just a form of ownership from staff's perspective, whether it's a site condo or a plat. We generally try not to discriminate between the two because the attorneys will get squirrely if we start to prefer one over the other. But the big difference candidly is it will probably be private roads. And so long-term, there is a policy question there, but that's the big difference, really.
Okay, so these are, as opposed to the, single-family homes that are found in Copper Creek 1 through 4. These are just the same buildings, but with a different designation as site condos for Copper Creek 5 through whatever.
It'll have a different form of ownership, yep, that's all, that's functionally going to be the difference.
Okay.
So they're not single-family homes then?
They are single-family homes.
But
They are
they're
homes,
condos.
but they're site condos.
They're site
not-
condos. So, it became far more popular in the 90s in Michigan.
Yeah.
It started in the 70s and slowly grew. I don't have the list off the top of my head, but I could point out to you neighborhoods that are site condos and you'd have no idea that it looks like a plat. It's just a different,
We'll leave the Okemos Preserve off Hewlett Road as a site condo.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Whereas the one to the
Private
north.
roads.
Whereas the one to the north is not.
Right.
And they literally, you drive between them.
Yeah.
There's no difference really.
Well, the difference, to your point about private roads, the difference will come 30 years from now.
Exactly.
When the current residents who were not present and not part of that initial process, who don't understand what a site condo is, are told all of a sudden that they're gonna have to pay to repave their road lest it go to, rubble. And then the board at 30 years from now will have to deal with angry residents who come to us to scream about the fact that they're being charged a bunch of money to replace a road. And why did that board 30 years ago allow them to put in a private infrastructure when there's a perfectly good, planning process that could allow for public infrastructure to come in? And then it would be the township as a whole's obligation to replace it. That may be someone 30 years from now's problem. Right, and that might be something that we were willing to kick the can on, but it is something worth considering that, they may not be the same owners, and they may not be as eyes wide open as perhaps the first owners will be in these site condos.
Certainly.
Trustee Wilson.
Are we encouraging the use of private roads by using this particular?
Not at all.
Okay. Because I would think that would not be good in the long term, as the supervisor said.
They could be public roads.
I think the intention is to design them in such a way as they would
Qualify?
qualify, but given the way that they're doing the open space and the street trees and the utilities, it's not gonna meet the explicit, design standards of the road department as it currently stands. But will they be the exact same design essentially on the surface as the other public streets? Absolutely.
If someone comes and says they wanted to make it a public road, that would be up to the Eagan County Road Department. Correct?
They would very much need to be involved with that process, yes.
And these residents, starting in year one, will be paying for maintenance, plowing, all of that. So they will know that there are charges with regard to their roads. So,
Yeah, they will need to establish, and we are part of that process of reviewing the condominium documents.
and
They're required to provide us.
As necessary to cover, yeah.
Absolutely.
Trustee Wilson.
Do they have to meet the same standards for curb cuts, curb and gutter, width of the road and so on?
Yes.
So there's no shortcuts to that, having a private road?
There's no design shortcut, no.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Trustee Lentz.
Am I, please tell me I'm wrong on this, but am I under, aren't condos required to have their own drainage district separate than, from outside, like, single-family homes, or is that completely off base?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, that's fine, I remembered a conversation a while ago related to that with someone not here, so. My other question, on, page 78, the introduction here, it references rezoning 65.38 acres, and then all these supporting documents talk about the larger land. Is that saying that only the 65.38 would be, would have this PRD overlay on it?
At this time, yes, that they're intending to only get approval for the, this sketch plan and this rezoning to PRD. Their intention in the future will be to come back when they've completed their, they've got wetlands, they've got a drain, they've got all kinds of stuff on this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they're trying to get some lots in the hopper here because they're running out of things to build.
Gotcha. So you would anticipate that we will see similar things come before the board related to this future development area? And go ahead.
Yeah, no, functionally, they're gonna have to go through essentially the same process again.
Okay.
And they're aware of that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify those numbers, so.
But despite the fact that they're looking at just doing that one leg, this sketch plan, if approved, would be approved for everything that we see on there currently.
For this 65-ish acres, yes.
Okay. Got it.
And then what'll happen is, right, this will come in for site plan review administratively, and then they'll need more lots, and then they'll figure out how many on the north loop, because they'll start to loop it ultimately, because the fire department's only gonna let them have sort of a one-way for so long.
Well, I assume it's connecting to the old one, so that.
Yeah, this will connect to the old one, and then this will pop out.
Right.
But then when they start going this way or this way, they'll have to
Yeah.
sort of lay that out.
Okay. Other questions? This is fascinating.
Yeah.
I was not aware of the PRD or its, intricacies as compared to the PUD. So, guess we'll continue to watch this as it moves forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is item 11C, Senior Center Quarterly Update. Manager Dempsey is here to talk to us more about that.
Yes, thanks, and good evening again. So we were last here in April with an update on the senior center facility, wanted to provide the latest on what's happening with that. So we continue to have conversations with both school districts. In fact, I had the opportunity to finally sit down with Mr. Olson, the new superintendent of Okemos Public Schools this morning. I don't think anything has really changed there. They are probably several years out from us being able to be integrated into any of their future plans. I think we will certainly need to, at the minimum, put the senior center program into a different facility in a short-term basis if we were to do something with Okemos Public Schools. Conversations with Mr. Malley, the superintendent of Hazlet Public Schools. They are currently in the middle of their facility assessment study, so they're currently starting to work through some things. I think the opportunity to continue to look at the facility where the Hazlet Library is and community education building still is a potential facility. I think, the issue on their end is sort of how they might potentially propose reprogramming some activities and where they're going to move things to, and what facilities they're going to propose, where those go, how they might have to move students around. So they have, again, not unlike Okemos, a very extensive planning process that they have to navigate and work through. So that one is still open. In the meantime, we've been sort of reassessing some of our properties, and I wanted to give an update, most of the update around that this evening. So as you know, with the proposed millage that we looked at last year, we looked at the property on Central Park Drive next to the Central Fire Station, that the township controls. What we've started to do since then is sort of look at, other properties that might make, equal sense. Of course, just as a reminder, here's Central Park Drive, here's Okemos Road, of course, the mall over to the right here. So we looked at this property for the proposed community and senior center facility, a fairly substantial parcel. But we've sort of revisited the notion of potentially doing something on the service center site. So just up the road on Okemos Road. We did have an analysis done of existing plans for the current service center facility. So the office building that's here on the south end of the overall facility, looking at, the potential to add a second story to that. The engineers and architects came to a pretty quick assessment that that would be cost prohibitive. The building was not designed to add a second story to that office facility. There are issues with the load-bearing capacity of the roof system, of the walls. You would essentially have to build a structure over that structure, which doesn't make sense from a design standpoint and certainly doesn't make sense from a cost standpoint. But one of the things that staff has started to revisit was, for those of you involved in the committee and task force that looked at a variety of different sites, the land just to the west of the building, where we have the planned trailhead for the trail system here. We have sort of revisited that because the major constraint with this site, of course, was its overall size relative to a community and senior center facility. However, if we were to do just a senior center facility, there is the potential to build a new structure here, one-story structure, accommodate some parking, and still do the trailhead facility with the public restroom, and again, some shared parking there. So that site, it is tight, and it does border, a railroad track, which, we have multiple trains a day. However, there are design things that can be implemented with additional insulation and 3-pane windows and sound attenuation that could address some of that. So we are sort of revisiting that as a possibility, that might be a potential efficient use of space, and again, still being able to accommodate the project for the trailhead that we have received that DNR funding for. So we're starting to look a little bit more closely at that. Just wanted to put that out there this evening for some preliminary thoughts, feedback on that as a possibility. The commercial structures that we had looked at previously, I reported in our meeting prior to this that, a number of those are sort of coming off the market. We really haven't seen any new commercial structures out there that would sort of fit the mold for a senior center. Again, roughly looking in that 9,000 to 15,000 square feet range, something that's has good access, something that we could acquire and not something that we would simply lease, because as we've explained before, the lease arrangements typically don't fit the economic model given lease rates in the community. So those opportunities, we haven't, again, had any new ones really surface for that. So that's kind of where we're at. Staff, we've also started talking about, given the timeline that we're on, May of '28 is now less than 2 years. We are going to start to have some discussions about what might we do in the short term if we do have to relocate the operation on a short-term basis. Even if we get a plan going and designs and construction. And of course, we have to look at the financial aspects and, whether or not we go back to the voters for a much reduced millage request. That has to be part of the equation. So given those timelines, we want to start thinking about potential temporary locations for the operation. So we're going to be ramping that up as well here in the coming months. So that's kind of where we stand. Happy to get any feedback on the thought here with the Gaylord C. Smith Okemos Road site, as well as any of the other updates that I provided.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Board members. Well, I'll say that I appreciate the continued efforts to explore, interesting and, different options. I've generally been, I like the idea of using property that we have already, if we can. Certainly that's a much more cost-effective, method. We can eliminate the acquisition cost. I was also interested in reading your update of last week about the Academic Way property that Hazlitt is releasing, which is something I think that it may merit to look at, even if not for the senior center, although I think it might be an interesting notion. But also, I know that Director Wazinski has been on the hunt for more field space for athletics, and that might be an interesting spot for either soccer or baseball, or even perhaps the cricket field if there's enough acreage for it, that she's been looking for a while. I think it might be worth taking a peek at that and seeing if there's a way to configure the site where you might get both. That might be a worthy piece of land to look at and give some more thought about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe that was discussed at last evening's Hazlitt Public Schools Board meeting. Just to recap for those who are listening to this meeting. So the public school district had an arrangement with the Diocese of Lansing for this property that's along Academic Way here on the west side. Of course, they have athletic fields here, mostly soccer fields that they've utilized. There was a sort of a reversion clause in that agreement that the diocese is executing. They haven't been able to come to an arrangement to acquire it permanently, so it looks like that may be placed on the market by the diocese. So we'll certainly explore that and look at that piece of land. It essentially is sort of a L shape that runs, more or less along the tree line here, sort of follows it, sort of comes south here, just east of these single-family homes, includes that pond that's on the site. So that's obviously an identified wetland. But most of that site, as the supervisor pointed out, is used for athletic fields, and certainly has a lot of value for those purposes. As we know, across the community, there is a shortage at times of those fields, so that is an ongoing issue that I think will be part of the conversation as we look at this. So, but we'll report back as we learn more on that.
Thank you. Clerk Davis.
So back to the space near the service center, do we have a cost estimate? If we were to place a senior center there, has it changed at all since Central Park?
The per square foot cost basis probably isn't going to vary greatly from that. The overall cost would be substantially reduced because, the senior center was the smaller portion of that. I don't, we haven't, and I could be misspeaking here, but Deputy Manager Opsimer or Director Schmidt could opine on this. I don't know how much of a detail we looked at in terms of site-specific cost. For instance, I don't think we've done any soil borings, or, yeah, we don't have anything like that to know if there's any site constraints that would dramatically change the cost from the estimates that we had. But aside from typical inflation that we would apply to it in the construction industry, which has been a bit high, I don't foresee it being dramatically different on a per square foot basis.
Well, I think that space, something I haven't considered, and I think if it's able to hold a senior center, I think it's something we should look further into. I know that I live right in that neighborhood nearby, and the train can be quite noisy, so I would be curious to learn ways to reduce the noise levels.
Any other thoughts? All right, thank you very much. We'll see you in a couple months.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is comments from the public. Any members of the public wishing to make comment at this time? We'll close public comment at 7:18 PM. Next up is other matters and board member comments. Any other matters this evening? Seeing none, we do have a closed session. Do we have a motion for a closed session? Trustee Wilson,
Move to move into closed session.
you got to read the thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
The attorneys are gonna slap.
Motion to enter closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268, parens 1, parens H, to consult with the township attorney to consider a confidential written legal opinion.
It's been moved by trustee Wilson. Do we have a support?
Support.
Supported by trustee Trezise. Clerk Demas, will you please call the roll?
Clerk Demas, yes. Treasurer Burkhart?
Yes.
Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Supervisor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're entering closed session. If you'd please clear the room. Board members will take a brief recess while that's happening, and we'll see you back here shortly.
All set.
We're stuck in full screen, so I don't know about that.
We all set? Okay. Okay, we'll re-enter open session at 8:06 PM. Last on our agenda, this item is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Moved by trustee Wilson, supported by trustee Lentz. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Stand adjourned at 8:06 PM.